Okay. All right. Thank you. So we want to see how we can, please, if you are not muted, please mute yourself. Otherwise, I will get feedback. And the feedback will not be okay. Please, I beg. Thank you. So we want to just look at how we can employ AI tools, right, to gather some info that we need. And also, not only that, to also summarize some things for us. For example, I will start with our CV. Let's say, for example, you want to summarize some skills in your CV in just one paragraph, and you have been staying for about 1 hour, and you have not been able to still figure out how exactly you can do. It's very straightforward. You can use AI tools, which can assist you. I will just share my screen, and I will go to, okay. So I'll be using ChatGPT. Let me ensure I'm using the new page. Okay. Please, if you cannot see my screen at any point, please and please let me know. Let me know. So now, can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, can you just, hello?
You can see your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I will start with ChatGPT. So this is ChatGPT. You just type chatgpt.com and then you get this page. So let's say, for example, I want ChatGPT to give me the summary of my CV, and yes, is what I can easily do. If you just type to ChatGPT and say, okay, what are the skills that a linguist need that should be in your CV or in your SOP, the AI will generate lots of potential skills that need to be in your CV or in your SOP, but those skills are not what you have. So the best way you can do that is that you can copy your CV. For example, I'm gonna copy my CV now. You can remove the name from your CV you are copying, and then okay. So I can tell ChatGPT and say, okay, summarize. I can summarize the skills, right? Summarize the skills in this CV. And then if I do that, I need to paste the CV that I have. Paste my CV, for example, and remove your name from it. You don't need to put your name. You can remove your address, You can also remove your education because it's no education that you want AI to summarize for you. You can remove your education, and then you can leave the rest. That person making the noise. If anybody obstruct this meeting, instead of muting the person, I may just remove the person. When you join a meeting, the best you have to do is to first mute yourself. So for example, now, if you are following, so I can tell the AI, for example, to summarize the skills. So I can say summarize the skills, right? Summarize this. It doesn't matter the case that you are typing, either uppercase or lowercase. It doesn't mean. So summarize the skills in this CV, and then you just type, you just enter, right? So here is summarizing the skills that I have in it. But if I can go further by saying in one, because I just need that skills maybe in one paragraph of my SOP. So all this thing that is writing is already too much and I don't need everything. So I can just say summarize in one paragraph. In one paragraph, the skills, because I already know that the skills I need, they are actually under programs, as you can see when you summarize the skills and experience. So the skills I need are actually under programs based on the way I structure my own academic CV. So the skills I need are actually under programs, field work, and also soft skills. So those are the skills that I actually need. So I can just say summarize in one paragraph or in 3 sentences the skills, right, in the program session, field work, right, and soft skills, right, from the CV. So you are still mentioning from the CV. So you can even say without changing the key terms. So when you mention that you should not change the key terms, so it means that as you have written your terms in the CV, it's going to maintain when it's summarizing that for you. So I've mentioned that summarize in one paragraph the skills in the programs, field work, and the soft skills from the CV without changing the key terms. So I can then hit the button enter. So now it already mentioned that, oh, proficient in Pratt, in this, in this, in this. So I can even go further by saying, and then edit this statement again and type, right, summarize in one paragraph the skills in this, and how can these skills help, right, in PhD in linguistics, right, or linguistic research. Anyone, maybe in linguistic research or in PhD linguistics. So you can just say in linguistic research, or you can mention your own field. So you will see that he's going to go further by saying proficient in this. So demonstrate strong team, this. So these skills are essential in linguistic research and enable me precise this. So all what you just need to do, these are already giving you one paragraph of your CV, of your statement of purpose. So all what you just need to do is to copy this one out to Microsoft Word, and then where you just mentioned that as they enable or precise this, and then you just personalize them by using some personal pronoun and so on. Now, when you do that, it is possible that if I check this thing that the AI has generated in Qbot, Qbot is going to tell me that everything in this thing is going to be 100% AI generated. We are going to try it, for example. So I'll just add to the screen that I have, and I will type Qbot.
Good
I hope
evening,
you can
sir.
see.
Please, sir, we cannot see anything. It's only an adaptation of English loan words.
So you didn't see the last one I did?
Yes, we have not been seeing anything. It has only been an adaptation of English loan words. That's where your screen has been.
Wow. That is serious. And no one has mentioned it since. So can you see this one now? Can you see the ChatGPT space now?
Sir, please,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
please, kindly zoom it.
Okay, this way. Is it okay this way? So what I've done so far that you said you didn't see is, number one, I type summarize the skills in this CV, and then I pasted the CV there, right? So what that is going to do for you is that it's going to just summarize what you have in that CV. Remove your name from it. You don't need your name to be in what is generating. So after doing that, then you see that it actually gave me the following summary of skills and experience, and then it puts programs. So itemize all the script, the skills there, mention the language, and then the fieldwork skills that I also mentioned there, soft skills. Now that I've known that the skills I need to be as one paragraph is they are just in programs and then in fieldwork and soft skills. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to just now write and say, summarize in one paragraph the skills in the program, fieldwork, and soft skill from the CV without changing the key terms. So that prompt without changing the key terms means that when it's summarizing for you, it's not going to change the key terms you have already used in your CV. For example, if I didn't put without changing the key terms, the word Pratt or SFS, it may give me something else. And those are not what I need. I need the specific names of what I've already written in my CV. So when you do that, then it gives you, when you type this prompt, so it gives you this one and say, okay, proficient in Pratt, this, blah, blah, blah. That is already, just a one paragraph without actually relating to how will it help you in your program that you're applying to. Now, you can then go further by saying, summarize in one paragraph the skills in the program, field work, soft skills from the CV without changing the key terms, and how can these skills help in in linguistic research. So you see that it's now giving me more robust paragraph, right? That, oh, these blah 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 skills that you have, and then if you have these skills, then you'll be able to manage research and so on. So what you are now going to do is that you copy this one out now to Microsoft Word and then edit it, personalize it so that it's good that you are the one that have written it. That is one stage. Meanwhile, if I check what this has generated for me now, and I want to check the AI dictator, through the AI dictator, it may tell me that what I already have here is going to be 100% AI generated. So we are going to try that now. So at any point you are not able to see my screen as I'm moving, please let me know. And that's why you are there. So you can use keyboards, for example. Possibly you are not seeing keyboard again. So let me, So the keyboard we have now, this is the AI dictator. I believe you can see my screen, and then you just click on it. And then when you do that, you just paste what AI has generated for you. This was the paragraph that we want to check the AI level. So at my right hand, you will see here where they put AI generated and paraphrased, and then you see human written and paraphrased, human written. So what this means is that the first one, it was AI that generate, it will be AI that generates everything. So this can tell you the amount of AI generated skills that you have in that one paragraph. The second one can tell you AI has generated it, and then you have gone further by paraphrasing it. And then the third one can tell you, oh, this was actually human written, but the person has used AI to paraphrase what have been written. And then the third stage will tell you that everything here is just human written and not AI. So if, for example, now you apply to a program and then they check your whatever you are submitting and they discover that, oh, this was actually AI generated or AI generated and paraphrased, and it is not human written, though it means that it's not genuine. So I can check this now, and this can actually tell me the percentage of the AI. So you just check, you just click on the analyzed. Okay, so 1 minute, it should give me a response. Why?
Sorry, sir. It says minimum of 80 words that you can use, but that's 74 words.
It shouldn't be. Um, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Have they changed it today? Wow. Hmm.
Hello, sir. Can you
Hold
hear
on.
me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to check something. I'm wondering why it's giving
Yeah,
me
it
that.
says minimum of 80 words.
No, it
Like
doesn't.
the
It
AI
doesn't
detector
mention.
is telling you that it's minimum of 80 words.
I know what you are saying. It doesn't give
When
me
you
that.
posted the word,
I know what you are saying. It doesn't give me that response before. Maybe some things are happening. I check a whole, what is it called before? So that's why I'm wondering why it's giving me. Okay. This is serious. Really? No, these are happening. No, some things are happening. No, no. Yeah, I don't know what is happening at the moment, but it shouldn't give you 80 words. I think I need to restart my system, and unfortunately, I will not want to restart it now. I have some pending work. Because if you can see my screen, even before now, I've been using it for long. So you can even paste, you can even upload your documents. So if, for example, now you are able to, you paste it here and then you just hit the button, analyze this
Maybe
text.
English.
Maybe what?
You changed the language to English, like I saw Dutch language the other time while you were going through the
Really?
stage.
Okay, wait. Let me. No, that's not the problem. Because even with Dutch, it's still saying the same thing. And it doesn't give that response before. I may need to restart. And unfortunately, I can't restart now. System, I have some pending work. Even if I restart now, the meeting also will end. So what you are just to do. Okay, somebody wants to say something. So all what you have to do is, for example, if you check that AI dictator, and then you will see the percentage of the AI generated, and then you can then look at what sentences are actually AI generated, and then change those sentences. You can change the word, you can change the ordering of the words, you can change the language from active to passive. You can also change you can change the whole sentence depending on what you actually need in the sentence. Now, if after doing that, and then you still discover that the AI generated is still very high, you can click on paraphrase. If you can still see my screen, I will reshare again to be very sure. So you can click on, still on the left hand, you can see paraphraser, and then you can paste it there. And then when you paste it there, you will see modes. Here you will see standard, you will see fluency, you will see natural, you will see formal, academics, and so on. If you change it to natural, if you check AI dictator, it's going to be, the percentage is going to reduce drastically. And then one better thing that you can, why AI is okay is that it can even highlight the sentence or the paragraph that is actually AI generated. And then you can go further by sitting down with that paragraph or that sentence or those sentences and then restructure those sentences. And by the time you do that, and then you go back to it, and then it will be able to give you, oh, this is genuine, 100%. But even when it gives you 100% genuine, because you have already used natural will make it more or less like a semi-informal writing. So it means that you will now need to sit down with it. AI is not that we are using AI so that it makes us lazy or it will replace human being. No, it is just to make the work faster. So you still need to sit down with it and then use the appropriate terminology that you need to use. So that's why even when you apply to any program, in your terminology, even if your AI generated is just 5%, they will still overlook it because they know that there are some terminology that you cannot replace with just any word. You must use the exact terminology. So that is one of the ways you can use to summarize whatever section you have in your CV. That being said, you can still use the same thing to write paragraph by paragraph in your SOP. Like, for example, this is a skill paragraph. So let's say, for example, you have published some research work and then you want to say, okay, hey, hi, summarize in 1 paragraph or in 5 sentences how you think the following research that I've done can assist me in carrying out so research in so field. When you give that prompt to ChatGPT to give you how the previous research you have done can suggest to you what you can do. Let me try that now and see. Let me reshare my skill. Let me reshare again. Can you see my ChatGPT environment now?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So let me say now we have done summarize the skills. So I can go by saying summarize the publication, because of course I put some publication in the CV. If you check here now, for example, not that CV I used. So I can't use publication in this because publication was not actually, it was another CV I used. So, but other things I have here is, for example, I have research experience. So I've done had a research assistance, and then not only that, I had leadership, and I've also won let me say some award. So I can say with the research, right, experience in the CV, how can this, right, experiences help me navigate, right, research in PhD linguistics, right? Write your response in one, I can say in 3 sentences. So now it's already mentioning to me that research experience detailed in the CV, because when you are going to submit your when you're going to apply to the program, you are going to submit your CV. So you can even say, for example, as mentioned here, the research experience detailed in the CV showcases proficiency in this, right? The ability to facilitate this is also mentioning that it's not just that I can do research, but I have also facilitated some workshops before and collaborate on curriculum development. So with all this, so he said, this background combined with a solid understanding of data science and ethical research practices ensure preparedness for the rigorous, demand for your PhD program. So this also had given me more or less like another paragraph in my SOP. So I already have a paragraph that summarizes my skills, I have another paragraph that summarizes my research experience, my leadership skills, put everything together. So what I just need now to do is to now sit down with this same paragraph and then contextualize it by saying, okay, in what exact way do I think this is going to really help in my program that I want to do? These are giving me some insights, and I just need to flesh it up, which is better than, thinking, right from the scratch, and you are the one only thinking about everything. So with this, I can even say, as it is now, I can copy it, paste it here, and say, paraphrase. I can say, paraphrase, right, this paragraph, right, without losing. If you don't put that, it may lose the meaning. So you can say without losing its right meaning, and then you just hit it. So it can even paraphrase it for you. So now you see that it has already reduced the content. Peradventure, you still want to give it a prompt to continue. You can say continue, because sometimes what it will write now may be better than what he had written before. So you will see that. So with this competency, navigating advanced research topics methodology in PhD program becomes more manageable. And then the combination of practical these days. So we can then combine between the first one generated and the second one that have been generated earlier, and see which one am I going to actually sit down with and make proper edits and use. So apart from the fact that something is generating something for you, secondly, it's also using more or less like languages that those who are going to actually evaluate your credentials are going to are already familiar with. And then not only that, he's also using the thought pattern of what those people are also familiar with. So if you copy it from here now and then you take it to ChatGPT, what is it called? You take it to Qbots or any other one. I only know of Qbots. I've been using Qbot for months now, so I'm very more familiar with Qbot. So you can use that, and then that can actually dictate, and then you can paraphrase the paragraph, and then you can hit the button of natural, and it can naturalize it for you in such a way that it will be as if you are writing from a semi-formal perspective. So that is one of the ways you can use to have a very solid and good SOP. That one is that. You can also use, for example, the entire CV and say, suggest a project, like suggest a research topic, right, for PhD in so. Now, let's say, for example, I'm using the same thing, and I say, suggest, right? Maybe I want to do PhD, for example, in my field. I don't even know what exactly I want to do. But with all these that I've done before, I could say, suggest, right? Suggest PhD topics in the line of the CV. So now, let's say, for example, I don't even know the topic I want to do before. But now, based on what information I've already filled the AI, is telling me that, oh, you could decide to do acoustic analysis of Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa using Pratt and this. That is one. And then it's also mentioning investigate this of this language, focusing on how speech analysis tools can actually enhance understanding of tonal languages. That's a very good one. The second one is, oh, you can also work on social phonetic variation in multilingual Nigerian communities. And then he's saying, oh, you could use the following tools, right? Combine them together, and then you can use it to actually describe the social implication. Third one is saying, oh, you also mentioned that you have some corpus skills. Then you can also do corpus-based, right, study of syntax and grammar in Nigerian English. And then he said, oh, you can even develop phonetics and phonology curriculum for Nigerian universities. So all this topic that is suggesting to me, for example, now, if, for example, I'm thinking of doing something related to maybe in education department, it means the topic I've highlighted here can go. If I'm thinking of doing something in language department, the other topic also can go. So let's say you don't even have the topic on ground. If I want to do something in a special education department, because some people don't know that even if you study English or language, you can also apply to special education departments. So let's say, for example, oh, I didn't even know. With this topic now, I can know, oh, I can also apply to study language variation and autism spectrum disorder. And that means I'm not just coming from language background. I'm also looking at, I'm having some interests or some insight into sciences, because that's where psychology, that's where they study autism spectrum disorder, and there are a lot of funding about that. So these are already giving me some potential topics I can decide to work on. So I can then take this topic, for example, and say, so I can take this topic, for example.
Expressions have granite.
So I can take this topic, for example, and say, okay, in the light of, I can say, in the light of the CV and this topic, right? Statements of purpose for PhD program. So this is what sometimes can take you more or less like 1-2 months that you have not finished, but something has generated something for you that you can start with. And then I can take it as it is here now and say, paraphrase this thing without losing the technical terms, right? And then I can take it from here to keyboards and take it to the natural, where you have paraphrase. You will see an icon at the top that is natural. You click there and then you can make it natural. And after making it natural, you cannot just send it to us that we should review it. Have it in mind that even if you review something and we say it's okay, it does not mean that it's going to grant you the admission that you want. But if you sit down with it after you do all those things and you make it genuine, and you sit down with it and then you make it really genuine by also mentioning the faculty member that you'll be working with, by mentioning the significance of this work. So if, for example, now it's also, oh, after my PhD, this is what I would do. And I tell ChatGPT and say, okay, add this one to my SOP, can add it. So if you don't sit down and do all those things to make it really genuine, and not just genuine, but using terms that you are to use, right, it means that all your efforts will just be in vain. But I'm telling you, you have many tools now that can make your application compelling. If you want to write all these things yourself, apart from the fact that you may not be exposed to some of those things, there is hardly a way that you can go about it. You may hardly be able to achieve all this in 1 month. Sometimes there will be no light. Sometimes there will be no, what is it called? The data that you buy. Sometimes it finishes very fast. But these are things that you can just save your phone, and then you charge your phone, and then in the midnight, when data bundle is cheaper, you can buy in the midnight, subscribe, and then you do all those things, and then you put them in somewhere, and you are checking them, and you are adding to them. You are going to Google Scholar, and then you are looking for the name of those who are working in that area. Because if you type that topic, for example, now on Google Scholar, you will see different people that are working on that area in the US, and then you can begin to get their names and the places where they are working. And then before you know it, you start networking, and then you're adding their names to your statement of purpose, so that when you apply to that department, they know that you have already done some background knowledge of what the department is all about. And that is going to give them assurance that if you are eventually hired in the department, it means that there are some things that you are not going to be asking the department before you know how to do them, that you are going to, on your own, go extra mile and learn those things. So that is how you can actually use AI in your study. So some people may be thinking, but I'm not using premium AI. All the one I've also been showing you is not premium. If you cannot afford premium, don't bother to use premium. Use the one you have and sit down with it. Yes, premium is about $21 per month, but use the one you have, sit down with it. This is fantastic. It should not take you. In fact, it's not bad if you have about 2-3 SOP, so that the school that you have interest in may not have a particular course, but have the other one. Because I remember my own time, I had about 3 SOPs, and I was applying to, I had one linguistics, one educational linguistics, one special education. And all the 3 SOPs actually got admitted and got admission and funding. So if you have a very solid thing, you surely get it. But if you just do something wishy-washy, oh, let me just send it to them, let me just apply, you will get nothing. It is not a course. Here they want to recruit someone that they know that is actually qualified, not someone that will just fill the gap. Because every grant they get, they want results. And they don't just want results, they want results that are timely, what they can achieve on time. And every skills you put on your CV, be mindful that when you come into the program, your advisor can remind you at any time. I say, you put so on your CV. And they say, okay, go and do it. So let it not be at that time. And I say, I'm sorry, I just put it there. No, they don't take, I'm sorry. So don't lie on your CV. Put what you know you can do on your CV, but you can do different certification programs now that can also give you the skills that you need within the shortest period of time. So this is what I intend to show you today. I'm sorry, I don't know why they kill bots. Maybe because of what happened yesterday. Microsoft had an issue yesterday, and I've not actually used it since yesterday. I've been using it before now. Maybe that was why, and I need to restart my system, but I have a lot of work I'm doing at the moment that will not make me to restart my system. So let me know if you have questions arising from this meeting. Okay, Olabanji.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you for what you are doing for us. God bless you abundantly in Jesus' name. Yes, sir. To start with, sir, yes, sir. To start with, sir, the last webinar we had, you also took us through this aspect of SOP writing. I actually started with it, and I also used this AI stuff and the Q-dot. So I experienced this stuff tonight that if the content is not up to 80, it will not analyze. I'll just make it up to 80 before it analyzes. It analyzed for me. So I think that could be the problem of what happened tonight.
Okay.
So and then yes, sir. So I experienced it until I made it up to 80 before it analyzed. In fact, I was worried. So, but until I got that information at the base of the application before I was able to correct it. And then, sir,
okay. Thank you very much for what you just mentioned. That's why we don't know everything. I just try what you did now, what to mention now, and it worked. So I will walk you through. If you can save the second question.
Yes, sir.
Wait.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Can you save your question? Wait, maybe it will answer what I want to say.
Okay, sir.
Wait, thank you. So I will just quickly show you now what I mean by making it genuine. I will share my screen again. Thank you very much, Olabanji, for that. So you'll be the next person that will ask. First person that will ask the question when the floor is open. So I believe you can see my screen, for example, now.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Now he's saying that, oh, everything you have here is actually 100% AI generated, right? That's exactly what I expect him to have because that was what happened. But if you come to that same by your left and you go to paraphraser, right? And then you copy what you have in that place there, and then you just go to this icon natural, and then you just paraphrase with that. Okay. Now, if I take this one that have been newly generated and I take it back to where I have that AI now detection, and I copy it there, and I want to check it again now and see. So what do you discover? That from 100%, it actually dropped down to 75. And not only that it dropped down 75, it's telling me the sentences that I need to now do some further work on before those sentences can actually be genuine. So what you're now to do is to sit down with those sentences, that the paragraph that has been actually highlighted, and then sit down with them and then use other paraphrasing tools and make some proper editing. By the time you check again, then it will reduce, and that's how it will reduce until you get like less than 10%, because you need less than 10% before you can. If you use above 10% for application, the application is going to be error. The school is not going to accept it. So thank you very much, Ola Banji. So you can go ahead now and ask your second question.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful, sir. My second question is that this fluency, sir, can we use it, sir, to edit the AI generated content, sir?
Yes, you can definitely use it. But if you use it, the most important thing is, what the fluency is all about is the reading of the flow of what you are reading, and then how the words are actually weaved together to make it very fluent. Yes, you can do that. But sometimes when you do that, the level of the AI you will get as a response will be higher. And before you get to 0%, it will be very, very difficult, because you want it to be fluent. That's the challenge. So what you can do is, yeah, hello?
Hello, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Yeah. So, but
I'm with you, sir.
either you are using fluency, everything is more or less like, because sometimes when you are writing SOP, every SOP is unique. The reason why you are doing your program is different from the reason why I'm doing it. Some people are actually having interest in doing, let me say, autism now, because they are younger one, or maybe they gave birth to a child, and that child has disorderliness in speech, and that's their story. So that person's story is not going to be just purely formal, it's going to be semi-formal, right? So whichever one you are using, either you are using fluency, you are using natural, you are using formal, you are using academic, anyone, the most important thing is that the content of what you have there, one, it should be almost like 0%. That is one. Number two, it should speak the volume of what exactly you want it to speak. That's the most important thing.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So, Ilalokoi, I saw your hands up. You can go ahead and ask the question. Precious. Okay, if Precious is finding it difficult to, maybe in the network issue, or Basi, you can ask a question.
Hello.
Okay, Precious, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for the great impact you are making. I would like to ask a question based on this research tools. I'm in literature, And so far, I've not been exposed to these research tools. Most of what I've done so far is we just use theoretical framework to read text, analyze, and apply. So I don't know, is it compulsory that I come up with research tools because I've not been exposed to any? Then secondly, about the SOP, you slightly answered part of the question I want to ask, because your last statement about talking about somebody that is having a sibling with autism, that his or her story will be different. So that brings me to my question. If I want to write my SOP based on my passion, what is driving me, will it, I'm just trying to see how the language might not really be academic per se. I'm trying to say this. I've not written my own SOP. I've not gotten inspiration at all. But there was a time I wrote SOP for somebody. The person is actually in the medical department. And I just told the person to tell me her story. She did, and I used that to create a SOP. And at the end of the day, the person was able to get admission to different schools. But I've never written SOP for myself. So if I want to write for myself now, should I write it from the perspective of my passion, what is driving me, and how I think people around me will benefit from my studying that particular aspect of literature? Because I'm a bit confused here when you talk about, I don't know. Let me just say
Okay.
I'm a bit,
Okay,
maybe
don't
you
worry.
understand. I don't know if you will get what I'm trying to drive at.
Yes, if you share the same mind, I think I may have some insight
Okay,
to what to mention. Number one,
okay.
before now, literature has always been qualitative. You are just analyzing. You use more or less like analytical tools, like you just
Yes,
pick a concept and then you're analyzing, in different
yes.
material and so on. But
Mm.
the way things are shifting now, everything is shifting towards quantitative number,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So there are different tools you can use. Like you can use AntConc. Now, what
That's
can you use
cool.
AntConc to? Yes, I'm even highlighting it in what's it called on the screen.
Okay.
Now, what you can use AntConc to do is that you can, let's say, for example, you are looking at gender violence, right?
Mm.
And then you
Mm.
want to use gender violence in Soyinka's paper, in Soyinka's work,
Okay.
and then
Mm.
in, let me say, in Things Fall Apart or in Shino Achebe's work, for example, right?
Okay.
And you want to actually see which one has gender violence more, right?
Mm.
And
Yes.
who is actually being oppressed in their gender description or gender domination.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Mm-hmm.
if you can download those their texts, right?
Okay.
And then there is a way you can upload it to either AntConc or Lackbox. If you
Okay.
upload it there, for example, right,
Mm.
and then you go to their search button and you just type gender and just type gender,
Okay.
it
Mm.
will give you all instances of gender,
Mm.
right? It can even
Okay.
calculate for you the gender by men, for example, what's the percentage? The gender by women, what's the
Mm.
percentage, right? So
Mm. Mm.
by that, you can even see when you mention gender, male, for example, what does it
Mm.
locate with often? Is it that
Okay.
men have strength and women are actually oppressed? So
Okay.
you can eventually calculate, for example, the percentage of women being oppressed. So
Okay.
unlike before that, you have to sit down and it is only you can only read, let me say,
Read.
public discourse, only public discourse that you can use. I may want to
Mm.
do something, for example, now. I don't even need to read the text. I just want to
Mm.
describe, for example, gender domination or gender violence in
Mm.
Nigerian literature. And I can just
Okay.
load it with like maybe about 20 or 50 materials, different materials. And then I'll
Okay.
just use the search engine. And then it's
Mm.
bringing all those things. Now, when
Okay.
you submit that particular work to a paper, to a journal
Mm.
to publish, that journal
Mm.
will accept that paper faster than the one that they need to read the text before they now begin to describe some things. Because you are not just coming from the perspective of, because literature is more or less like everything is personal, right?
Yeah, subjective.
It's subjective. So you are not just coming from subjective perspective. You are now coming from objective perspective, that objectively, this is what I see. But because
Okay.
I'm also coming from that same environment, so I can use the objective result, right, to now have a kind of subjective analysis.
Okay.
And some people even tell you that you don't even need subjective analysis. Give us what to see in the text. Forget about your background about the society. Forget about your background of what to know about the writers. You are just telling us what to know about what you are reading. So with that, for example, you are shifting from qualitative to quantitative.
Okay.
Right? And then instead of you using just one text at a time, you can then use like 5 texts. You can imagine you are now using like 5 texts and you are finishing something very fast, unlike somebody that will need to read one. After reading one, pick a pen and you are now underlining, you are writing it somewhere. You can imagine number of hours, number of days that one will take you. So that is one.
Okay.
The other area that you mentioned as regards to your story, every story is unique. But even when the story is unique, you must write within the confinement of what is needed for that program. Every program that you are applying to has a description, right?
Yes.
Let's say you are writing to Africana department, and their part of their description is, oh, they have interest in gender violence in Africa, right? And you are personally expressed violence, or your parents or somebody you know very close to you has experienced violence. You can have more or less like just one paragraph, right? That is going to resonate why you are doing that program. And that is not just for you alone, but that almost every 1 to 1 of 10 of ladies or female or a girl child in Nigeria or in Africa is experiencing the same thing. And then because of the flow of this frequency, you are agitating for this, or right? And then you come with, how do you want to tackle the problem? What skills do you need to get? Where do you think you can get that skills? How do you think the department is relevant for that thing? And how do you think the person you want to work with, right, can give you necessary skills or set of skills or exposure you need before you can do that thing? Then after you are able to get that certificate, how do you think you can now come, right, to do that thing that you have mentioned that you are going to do? Is it that you are going to be an advocate? Is it that you are going to write to the federal government of Nigeria and make the constitution of either the constitution or the curriculum of education of Nigeria to be reevaluated and be, and you want to make suggestion of some certain things that can, maybe that can support gender equality, or that can support maybe, women also having their voices in different contexts. So that means you are not just selfish because it has happened to you, but that because it happened to you and it happened to almost every 1 of 10 girl child in Africa. And then you are looking at how you can make it a project that can be solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it
Thank
answer
you
your
very
question?
much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very well. Sir, back to the research tools now. This Antconc and Lanxbox.
Yeah.
Now, from today, if I start practicing to use it, will it be okay if I now add it to my CV?
Yeah, it's okay. In fact, for example, the simplest one I know, Antconc is very easy to use. I've used both Antconc and Lanxbox before, and I'm still using them.
Okay.
Within 1 week, if you watch some videos on them, you can use any of it. The second one is heavier on laptop. It's about something gig that you download. But the first one, that's Antconc, is very light. Within 1 week, you can start using it. So you can put it on your, what's it called?
Academic CV.
Yes, you can put it on your academic CV.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. So can we have Basi now? Percy, you can unmute yourself and talk now. If Percy cannot talk now, can we have Dayo?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for this enlightenment.
Dayo, is it women or man? Which one?
This is a female dial.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for this enlightening session.
Okay.
My question is concerning the SOP structuring and presentation. Does the same rule applies for both PhD and MSc application?
Yes. But let me say yes with a clause.
Okay.
Unlike Nigeria, that every master's program, you must have a research. In the US, for example, not in the US alone, in the Western world, you can decide to have a thesis research and a thesis master's and a master's without thesis. So it means that it's not every thesis that you're going to do a research. So you need to firstly find out if the master's you're applying to is research or it is just a course base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So go
sir.
ahead.
Okay, that is basically what I wanted to ask. And then for those of us coming from management sciences, do you have any tips that can guide us?
The AI tools that we use does not have any respect for departments. Do you get what I'm saying? The tools that I've used does not have respect for any department. It only has respect for how you command it, the prompt you give it. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. This one doesn't have name. 00115
Yes,
668.
sir. Good evening, sir.
All right, good.
Good evening, sir.
You were the one that were disturbing us before. When you join a meeting, you're supposed to mute yourself. You are pardoned for today, but you may not be pardoned tomorrow. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your assistance. Thank you, sir. Sir, please, I would like to ask for just like the lady that you asked, she was asking about if this SOPs for PhD or MSc. So I wanted to ask, please, are we, for people applying for MSc, are we supposed to is it compulsory for us to have like faculty people that want to work with in our SOP?
Okay, thank you. If your master's you're applying to is a research-based master's, you need to look for faculty member. And let me also add to it that there are more funding for PhD than for masters. Because if masters, you are just doing, for example, masters is 2 years, maximum of 2 years.
Yes,
or in
sir.
some department is just 1 year. And they don't want to spend money on you for 1 year and you just collect the certificate and go without doing research. Unlike Nigeria, that you do a research and then at the end of 5 years, that research is already in the waste bin. Their own is not like that. You are doing a research that is solving humans' problem. So before you, for example, before they recruit you to a program, they want to recruit someone that is ready to solve a problem. And you cannot solve a problem in 1 year. You can only solve a problem like in 2, 3, 4 years. So that's why they have funding for PhD than for masters. That does not mean that there are no master's program without funding. There are some master's program, but very few that are funding. So funding is one of the things that you need to consider. Why don't you get necessary skills and ensure and then put in for masters, for PhD instead of masters? The first time I got admitted in a school in the US, it was masters without funding. But the second year I tried it, I got into more than one schools and all of them were funded in for PhD program. I didn't bother to apply for masters again, having known that they don't have funding for masters. So it may be part of what you need to consider before you apply to masters. So,
But sir, some applications used to, like when you want to apply now, they will request for master's degree. I was checking one school today, and one of the requirements is I would like to like pursue a course in research in education. So one of the requirements was a master's in education.
okay. What do you want to study in education?
Research in education.
What is research in education? What do you want to focus on?
Data analysis.
So that means you can apply to STEM, like measurement and evaluation departments.
Yes.
I know of schools, several. You have only checked for one school. There are several other schools, for example, that do not require you to have masters. In fact, even the one you mentioned now is strange. If I know the name of the university, I can also ask. Sorry, I can even know, so that tomorrow when I'm saying something, I'll say, oh, except so university. But I can tell you that there are several, even my own university, for example, in my department, for example, you don't even need masters. Not my school alone. Many schools in the US, you don't need masters to apply for PhD. The testimony I even shared some weeks ago of someone that got fully funded, he didn't have masters. It was just degree. So there are a lot of universities that do not ask you to have masters before you apply to.
I will change my SoP then.
So what you need to do is ensure that you have necessary skills.
That putting PhD there. Okay, Jesus.
So I think if you don't have any other question, I may just tell you to mute yourself. There have been some background noise from your
Okay,
end.
thank you.
Welcome. Basi Orieke, if I didn't get your name correctly, please pardon me. Can you unmute yourself now and talk? Basi. If Basi is delaying, I check on someone else. Ojelade. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Thank you much for the insightful presentation. Very grateful for all the sacrifice. I think part of my question has been answered, but you can still give more light on this question. I did a professional master's, and it's not that of a kind of research master's, more of course work. So, and I want to apply for PhD program in the US. I just need to qualify myself for such a program. So that's majorly what I'll be asking. And can you also give counsel on necessary software that I need to know as a social scientist? So thank you very much.
Okay, I didn't get all your questions at the time the network actually broke. But if I get you right, you already had the professional masters.
Yes.
Right. So don't worry, I will just mute you. Your professional masters is also a plus. Masters is a master's program. Professional program had already exposed you to some advanced level of what you did or what you covered in your undergraduate. That's the purpose of masters. And since you already have that, then you have a better chance. Add it to it, and then apply to whatever you want to apply to. Now, for the software that you can use, you can just go on Google or on ChatGPT that I used. As a social scientist, for example, who has interest in this, mention your interest area. Who has interest in this? What tools, what research tools or software do I need to know? If you ask it, it will give you a bunch of software that you need to know. You can further ask and say, in all these software that have been mentioned, right, what are they used for? it can list to you one after the other what each of those software is all about and what they are used for. So with that one, you know which one are you prioritizing, which one are you learning first. And with Google now, with Google, with YouTube, with all those certification program, there is hardly a software that you cannot learn. Before I came here, I didn't know anything about R. I only know a bit of SPSS. But now I don't even like using SPSS again. So many of those software I mentioned earlier, they are not software that I was using before I came. But when I came, and not because there was any class where they were taught, but you came and then you discover that, oh, I need to learn this, I need to know this, and then you go on YouTube and you are learning those things, and then you can write to somebody who knows about it, or you can collaborate, writing a paper, using it together, and then before you know it, you master those things. So that is all about. Have I answered all your questions? If not, can you just unmute yourself and ask?
Yes, thank you very much. So in summary, my professional master's, I can qualify myself to apply for PhD.
Yes, you already have degree. Degree is main thing. Then you had your master's to it. Master's is master. There's nothing like professional or not. So professional is just more or less like you are not doing research. But now you want to do research. So it must be that you've now identified a problem that you think you want to solve in your profession. And your profession must have already given you some insight into how the profession is actually being run. So that is also another plus. Yeah.
Okay. I think I remember my second question. Please let me add this. And in the process of trying to conduct research, and is it as a PhD student or a prospective PhD student, can I conduct a research in Nigerian context while studying over there?
Yes, you can, but the problem, the research that you're going to do is not that is only going to favor one local government. It should be a research that will favor either the whole of Nigeria or the whole of West Africa, or that may also favor Africa if you have a good or grasp knowledge of what you are doing. So yes, for example, I'm here and my research is actually on Nigerian English. So yeah, where do they speak Nigerian English? They don't speak it in the US, they speak it in Nigeria. So you can still do that. But your research must not just be a case study of a local government. So it should be something of a wider range. So that's the most important thing.
Okay, thank you very much. God bless.
Right. Basi, if you are back online, can you ask a question? If not, I'll give you a slot to someone else. Okay, Joshua, you can ask your question. Eunice, can you ask your question now?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to ask about a person aspiring to go for a master's, also wanting to further a PhD in the same school. So how can we document that in our SOP?
No, I didn't get your part. Can you expatiate very well?
Okay, I want to go for my master's. I'm an agricultural student. So I want to go for my master's in, let's say, horticulture. Also, I also want to pursue further after finishing my master's in horticulture in that school, pursuing a PhD.
You don't need to, okay, thank you. You don't need to mention that you are going to pursue your PhD in the master's program. Why don't you apply for PhD straight? Let me tell you something. If you have everything it takes to apply for PhD, apply for PhD straight. The first 2 years of your PhD program, the department will ask you, do you want to get master's certificates along the line? And then if you say yes, at the end of your 2 year, when you are done with all your coursework for masters, they will give you a master certificate, and then you continue with your PhD. So with that, you don't need to apply for any other thing. they see it as, oh, you get your master certificate along your PhD program. Why some, if maybe they have shift of interest, they will just say, no, they just want to get the masters and they want to go. So even though it was PhD that they actually recruit them for. But if you apply for masters, apply for PhD, and then you get accepted, it means that you are going to start with coursework. That coursework, those coursework you are going to do, they are actually master's program. And at the end of your coursework, you can tell the department that you want to get a master certificate, even though you are continuing with your PhD. But if they recruit you for masters, you can't tell them that you want to change to PhD. If you are going to do PhD, it means that when you are done, then you apply for PhD. So, or almost before you are done, you apply for PhD. But there's no chance that you don't have the chance that they are going to accept you. So except maybe you have almost like 4.0. Even if you have 4.0, it does not mean they will recruit you, because they will tell you that was not what you applied for from beginning. And so why don't you consider PhD right from beginning? Except if you know that you don't have whatever you need for it. And I've mentioned before, they don't always have funding for masters. Don't be frustrated. Consider applying for PhD. There are no often funding for masters, especially for international students. There are no often funding for masters. Not because there are no funding at all, but the funding is very limited. So, but you have more funding for PhD. So I hope that has been answered. Joseph, you can answer your question. Joseph, you
Good
can answer.
evening.
Good.
Yeah, thank you so much for this session. Please, I was a bit late, so I want to ask, will this SOP displayed on the screen, will it be made available in the platform?
No, you can only use the, what's it called? If the recorded will be dropped, then you can use the recording. So this particular will not be dropped. We just tried it. It's not a particular SOP for anybody. We just tried it. Use the AI and see how you can use the AI to do yours.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much.
Dayo, do you want to ask another question?
Yes, sir.
Please be fast. This session will be closed any moment soon. So if you're asking a question, just go straight to the point, please. I beg.
Okay, yes, sir. My question is, from the information you've given that there's no much funding for masters, it's better one go straight to apply for PhD if you have what it takes. So can you just give a brief rundown of what it takes, what you mean by what it takes? Just a brief rundown, sir.
I cannot give a brief rundown because what it takes to get PhD in my school is not the same thing as what it takes to get PhD somewhere else. So because every department has requirements. So you have to go to the department that you want to apply to and then check. I want to apply to PhD linguistics in early childhood. What are the requirements? Number one, they say, okay, you need to have a CV. Do you have a CV? Number two, they say you should have a writing sample. Do you have one? Number three, they say you should have this. So you are the one that will check what exactly do they need.
Okay.
Then when you see that, oh, I have everything they need, then you write the name of that school and say, okay, I will consider this school. And then you do that for the rest. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Eunice, do you want to ask another question? If not, that will be the last person.
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So, since there is no other question,
Sorry, sir. Can I? Hello, sir. Hello, Banji, sir.
Hello, Banji. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, sir. Quick one. On transcript, sir. When the school says they want official transcripts during application time, sir, for us that we have a document with West already, can we access the one from West, or we go back to our institution to access the transcript? Which one is better? And when we also coordinating the professors, is it advisable to use the evaluated one, or we use the unevaluated one, sir?
Okay, straightforward. If the school says we need official transcript before your application is actually assessed, it means you must send official transcript. If your transcript has already been evaluated by West, you don't even need to go to your school again. Just write to the West, blah, 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 blah. I need official transcript to be sent to so place. Give them the address. Within 1 week, it will be sent. If your transcript have been evaluated with West, anytime you need transcript, don't go to your school again. Just go to West. If you are sending to your department, the professors, you can use the evaluated one. You can use the reason is that, let's say, for example, in the non-evaluated one, you have C, right?
Okay.
And then in the evaluated one, that C, because it's at the borderline of B, that C have been converted to B. I know of someone whose application was not treated because even though the person has more or less like a very strong, good result, but he has maybe 1 or 2 C. And the professor said, no, I don't want C, because in the context of the US, if you have C as a PhD student, you fail that course. C is a failure.
Okay.
So you have to have at least B. So because the person had already done masters and then in the masters he has C. So for that science program, he said, no, they don't accept it. So use the one that have been evaluated, even though it is unofficial by West, but use that one. Don't bother using anyone from any of the institution in Nigeria again.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. So it's like Salah wanted to say something before.
Okay,
You want
yeah,
to?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I want to, I'm sorry, I've not raised up my hand. Don't mind me, please. So I want to confirm the issue of writing samples. I saw something like that recently, and I also overheard you now. So I just want clarity on it. That's why I just have to raise it. Sorry. Thank you.
So what clarity do you want to know about it?
So I just want to know more of it because when I saw it, I researched about it. It's talking about having a research work before, published one and such. So they say we should 20 pages of it. So I just want to know, based on your experience, if you can just guide me on how to go about it.
Yeah, writing sample can be a proposal. It can be a published work. Let's say, for example, you have finished a degree in Nigeria, and then or anywhere you have a degree, you can sit down with that, with your research that you did, and then you can cut and have just 20 pages. What are you cutting? You are cutting introduction, you are cutting research questions, you are cutting the methodology, and then you put the analysis there. If you have a theory, you add theory. So what they are going to do with that is that they are going to now say, okay, if the person he has done research before, let's even see a template of the research the person has done. So it means that even when you are done, you need to read it and ensure that everything flows. Mind you, not every department require writing sample, but sometimes when you are submitting application, even when they did not require writing sample, if you have one, add it to it. Writing sample is also a plus. So sometimes you can also have like a proposal. Maybe the person does not have writing sample. You can upload your undergraduate research, but because undergraduate research is not going to be straightforward, it's very long. But if you just have like a concise one, you edit your degree research, and then you just have like 20 pages maximum, you can use that. Otherwise, if you have also published another paper that is not even from your undergraduate, yes, you can also use that one as your writing sample. But whatever writing sample you are going to use, let it be very similar to what you are applying, the program you are applying for, or the course that you want to do.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank
All
you
right.
for the insight.
Hello, Koi.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Again.
very much, sir. Yes, please. Because of the last question that was asked concerning this words and transcripts, getting my transcripts again, I don't know how long it will take, but I have one that I wanted to use for Uniport. Is it possible I make use of that one? That's number one question. Then the words evaluation. The one that we did, that's the free online one that was just, what it gave me is just the CGPA. Is that what I'll write in my CV as my overall CGP, or what I have in my transcripts?
No.
Thank you very much.
What you calculated with the West calculator is what you should put on your CV.
Okay.
Now, West is not important, or West evaluation is not mandatory in every department. For example, in my school, in my department, you don't need West. You apply with the degree you have in Nigeria, you just apply with it. But in some other department like education, in my school, for example, in some other department, you must have your results evaluated by a body. So it is that evaluated copy that they are going to accept. So you need to find out from the school you want to apply to that. Do they accept unofficial transcript? If they do, what it implies is that the student copy you have, the one you have with you is a student copy. The student copy you have, you can use it to apply if they accept unofficial. Then when you are granted admission, then you can now process official transcripts.
Okay.
Right. So,
sir, the one I have with me is not student copy. They were supposed to send it to Uniport directly, but it wasn't sent. So one way or the other, it came back to me. I got it, but it's addressed to Uniport.
yes, it's still referred to as unofficial. For
Okay,
example, the one I used for the degree, it was the one that was to be sent to UNN for my master's. And then because they delayed, I got hold of it. I scanned it, and then before I sent it. Now, so that's the same thing I used. So it was when the admission had been granted, then I was to resume. In fact, I had come here before. I ensured that within the month I came, that was when I already started the process before leaving. So you just ensure that before you resume your program, you have sent your official transcripts. That is if they say that you can use unofficial transcript. But there are some schools that will tell you that without official transcript, they will not process your transcript. So that's why you need to, as you are checking those schools, you need to begin to know the requirements and be writing them down so that you know which one actually matches with what you have, which one does not. If you don't have your degree transcripts, if you have masters, you don't have degree, there's no school that will accept it. The degree is the main one. So degree is the first one. Then if you have masters, you add. If you don't have masters, it's not a problem. So that is what you need.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. So in the absence of any other question, I wish you all the best. I pray that God will help you in all that we've discussed. The wisdom you need, the knowledge you need, the Lord will grant unto you. And the right school that you need to apply to, the person that you need to approach, the Lord will connect you and grant you favor in Jesus' name. So that by this time next year, as the Lord, which is by his grace, by his mercy, we'll have many of you joining us. And then when you come here, you will serve the Lord in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
In
sir.
Jesus' name we prayed.
Very much.
Thank you very much. God bless you abundantly in Jesus' name.
Amen. So, all right.